Good morning and welcome. Welcome to my live stream. Here we are to fight CPS with the host, Bob Pace. And I do apologize for being late this morning. I had technical issues with this computer. Hopefully, I can get my new computer now. But prices have gone up. The computer I looked for in January now has gone up by about $1,500. It just never seems to fail. But anyway, my computer, my own personal computer, took a dive and using my son's computer. And it is a very, because the part of my work here involves a computer, but they're not cheap anymore. And especially, I'm getting one that replaces one that's 7 years old. So I want the latest ones. I want the 50 series, the GPU, and I want the i9. And now they've come up with the Ultra i9. So I want to have the latest CPU and the latest, the 5090 or the 5080. I think I found one for 5080, but still, it's a lot of money. You're spending more money now. I know when I bought my computer, it was $1,200, and that was 7 years ago. And I set my budget for 2,000, and now it's $3, 4, 5, $6,000 for a laptop. Anyway, I'm here to talk about how to fight CPS, and I'm your host, Bob Pace. I'm on here twice a day, and I'm very happy to have made a lot of acquaintances on here that come in, my regular people that come in this room. Now, this live stream is shown around the world. I have 23 countries. Yes, there is CPS in other countries, and yes, people are having trouble with their children and the CPS. The Child Protection System is what I call CPS, is a government entity in every state, but it's found in every county. So in California, there's 58 counties. In North Carolina, there's 100 counties. Now, I have no idea why North Carolina has twice as many counties as California. And I thought maybe because money, but California is a lot more richer than North Carolina is. So I don't understand unless California is so big to make the counties so huge. Where in North Carolina, they have more counties because of the population. I have no idea. I don't know how many counties are in your state or whatever. But there's this entity. It's a government entity that was mandated by Congress in 1962, and this went to all of them, that social services set aside a group of social workers to protect our children from neglect and abuse, and also to do family reunification because they found out that the best parents are the biological parents. And if the parents can take classes, they can improve and be a lot better off. Anyway, I'm so glad that you're here. And my regular people, I'm glad you come back all the time. I miss you guys. Now, I try to make each show different because I know that it gets boring here, the same old thing. I've done over 2,000 shows. I've been doing this for 21 months, and I do 14 live streams a week. That's twice a day. I'm on at 7 o'clock at night every night with a show called Fight CPS and Save Our Children. And that evening show is on at 7 p.m. Now, during the daytime, I have two times. On the weekdays, Monday through Friday, I'm on at 10 o'clock. And on the weekends, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. And it's Fight CPS with Bob Pace. Now, these two live streams on every day, so it's 14. So if you're fretting that you're worried about something or missed something, I'm on again. And I do have 5 rules that I've come up with, something I've developed after talking to all these people and all these countries and everything, because there's a wealth of information that I can give you. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm a loving father and a husband. I've helped raise 6 children. I have 42 years of marriage experience, and I have 61 years of life skills. Yes, I do talk about some life skills during my show, things that will be helpful for you. Um, life skills could be like bullying or about how to do sewing or how to do your bank account. And in CPS cases, it's like a life skill of how to get insurance for legal matters. A lot of you don't think about it. A lot of you are blindly going through life and don't have any legal insurance. Legal insurance is where you pay an insurance company to help out in disasters, such as maybe your child gets involved in drunk driving, or maybe you get involved in CPS, because the best attorneys are going to cost you a lot of money. The ranging of attorneys from $200 to $1,000 around the country that I've found out. Now, Vincent, the attorney that started this live stream with me, is $500 an hour. He's also one of the few attorneys in the country that is trained and schooled in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. Those three areas of law is what you'll find that CPS is involved in. It's not a criminal law. It's not real estate. It's not workman's comp. It's not divorce. So it's very important you get the right kind of attorney. The sad part is CPS hopes you take their court appointed attorneys. They really want you to do that. And a lot of us do because why? We all have in common. Economically, we're going through hard times or been going through hard times. And I've been through since 2010 when I lost my forever job. And later I had to get money to hire my attorney, who happened to be Vincent Davis, and sold my forever home. Those are two things you never want to see happen to you in life. But at age 60 in 2010, I lost my job through no fault of my own. And I had to go to a Spartan lifestyle and was able to hang on to my home for 7 years till I finally had to quick sell it because I had saved up that much money to pay the mortgage payment. My mortgage and the taxes, the property taxes, together with my my credit line, it was close to $5,000 a month. And if you don't have income, you're going to deplete your nest egg. And I had a pretty good sized nest egg. I mean, I've been working at that time for 45 years. And so I had put away money, even though I was hit when they cut my retirement in half. It was very discouraging. I lost over $300,000 in retirement. Anyway, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you share stories from viewers. I'm here to help you fight your case and give you support and what you need to know. I also have an attorney that can help you hire, especially if you live in LA County, because that's his home base. He will go to other states, he will practice laws in other states, but there's added expenses. There's expense of doing business in that state, which is a license. Now, no lawyers are going to get all 50 licenses for all 50 states because they don't practice law. I mean, if they do, yeah, that's quite a heavy workload to have 50 cases at one time. That is amazing if you can handle 50 cases. Maybe three or four, but not 50. The court appointed attorneys handle 30 to 100 cases. I've been told one person in Oklahoma said there was heard 100 cases. So anyway, you got to stay away from court appointed attorneys. They just will not fight for you. Also, you need an attorney that's trained in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. Now, I keep repeating those things because a lot of you do not realize you can't have a plumber fight your case. Fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. If you know anything about open heart surgery, you're going to get a professional doctor that's trained and so forth, gone through a lot of things. Same thing goes true with fighting CPS. You don't know the bad ones from the good ones. Now, not all CPS is bad, but there's a lot of them that are. Mine was bad. In Orange County, it was bad. In LA County, it's bad. Riverside's bad. San Bernardino is bad. Kern County, Santa Barbara, San Diego. Southern California is bad. Also up in Oakland. So, anyway, you never know what's good or bad. So you have to prepare for the worst. And they're going to sit there. When they come knocking at your door, that should be a red light in your head that says, "Oh, I don't answer the door." You don't want to answer the door, and the door is scary. Your home is your castle. Your door is your drawbridge. Once the door is closed, you don't let anybody in unless you know them. When you're a little person, one of the life skills you learned is that you don't talk to strangers. You don't talk to strangers. And these people that come knock at your door, the policeman or the social worker, are strangers. Now, the policemen are used as intimidation by social services, by the child protection system, because they are dressed to kill, meaning that they are somehow dressed in the warrior outfit, which I understand. It's a rough life being a policeman. There's a lot of bad people out there that kill policemen. So I understand that. But in social services with children and adults, you need to have a professional approach. Now, the reason why CPS uses the police is one, for protection, for protection. Two, to serve warrants. Only the sheriff can serve warrants. The child protection system cannot serve a warrant. CPS cannot. To serve a court order, which is a warrant, has to be done by a sheriff. That's one of the duties of being sheriff. I don't think even the local police can serve warrants. I think it has to be a sheriff. That's something I maybe need to look up. Um, uh, it says here only a marshal or an authorized officer may execute a warrant. Now, a judge is the one that signs a warrant. It has to be a court judge, a district court judge, a judge of court of criminal appeals. And the reason why warrants are served is to get someone to appear. Now, a lot of times, if you sign a promise to appear and you don't show up, then a warrant's issued. Now, warrants are covered by the Fourth Amendment. I do need to tell you about the Constitution. And um, it's very important that you know about your constitutional rights. Now, the Fourth Amendment governs the method of execution of the warrant. It was a rule at common law that before an officer can break and enter, he must give notice of his office, authority, and purpose, and must, in effect, be refused admittance. There's a statutory requirement in federal system. Now it says here the court considers the rule of announcement as a constitutional requirement. The court determines that the common law knock and announce rule is an element of the Fourth Amendment reasonable inquiry. This rule is merely a presumption, however, that yields under various circumstances, include those who pose in a threat of physical violence to officers, those in which a prisoner has escaped and taken refuge in his dwelling. It goes on and on. You know, um, there is sometimes a no knock entry is justified under circumstances. If Officers choose to knock and announce before searching for drugs. Circumstances may force entry if there's no proper response. But I don't want you to get dwelled on that because we need to stick to it's like when you get a traffic ticket, you're cited with a violation of the Department of Vehicle Code of your state. You ran a red light. You didn't stop a full stop at a stop sign. You're speeding at 65 in a 55-hour zone. Okay, you get a ticket. Doesn't mean you're guilty. It just means you promised to appear for your arraignment in court. You're going to be arraigned in court. You're going to be plead guilty or not guilty. You don't, when your officer gives you, you don't have to say you're guilty or not guilty. In fact, the best way to do it is to keep your hands on the wheels, don't say anything, and it's yes, no answer. And you want to document everything that happens with you. Some people have cameras and document. But when you sign it, that's a promise to appear for your arraignment. And if you do not appear, then a warrant's issued. Now, another kind of warrant is a warrant to enter your home, a warrant to talk to you, a warrant to take your child. Those are special kinds of warrants. But it's important that you learn about that because if you don't answer the door in your home, which is my rule number 4, um, you just be quiet, then you're going to have to find out later who was at your door. Now, you can have CPS or police enter the home if they believe the child is in immediate danger. Now, what's considered immediate danger? The child is being physically abused, or the child is been very well neglected for quite some time. The CPS may enter the home without a warrant if they believe the child is in immediate danger of serious harm. However, CPS must act reasonably and ensure the entry is necessary if a parent voluntarily allows CPS to enter the home. The warrant requirement is bypassed and CPS will need to reassess the legal grounds for entry. Now, don't panic. What can CPS do and cannot do? This is the beginning of your case. How you got involved is because your case was reported by either a mandated reporter or a layperson. Now, a layperson is your everyday relative, your everyday neighbors, people across the street, people at the store, family members, you know, um, they can register a complaint of neglect or abuse. All they do is they call the number. Now, I think that's a mistake. I think anybody that's going to make a complaint against somebody should be in writing, their name should be signed, and they should have a phone number there. That information can be kept confidential. But if that shows to be a false report, then prosecution can happen to them. If people know they have to sign their name and put it in writing, there'd be less bad reports. The problem is it's so easy for a neighbor that's having trouble with the dog. You know, their dog is barking all the time or stuff like that, or the yard is overgrown. The neighbor will call in and fictionize a CPS case, and that is bad because there's a lot of that reporting. I would say almost 75% of the time, lay people give false reports because studies have shown on the mandated reporters, the ones that do it because of their job, that half of the reports made by the mandated reporters, which is your nurses, your doctors, your teachers, your administrators, your counselors, your caregivers, your policemen, your firemen, they get it half wrong, 50%. Studies showed last year that there was 4,200 reports of child abuse in the United States. Of that, 2 million was false. 2 million. That's half, or close to half. So what's happened is that a report's made, and within 24 hours, the child protection system has to investigate, and they do that by coming out. They may call, they may send a letter, but most of the time they come out, and they come out. And if the good ones are good ones, they'll do their job. But there's a lot of bad ones out there because they want to generate some income. It's $1 trillion business. Trillion, not billion, not million, but trillions of dollars. I don't know how much trillion, but it's a lot of money. Trillion to me is, I just can't comprehend even $1 billion, let alone, I know what a million does because I've done jobs enough to do that. So anyway, we're getting back to my point about don't panic when CPS can and cannot do. So when they come knocking, it's going to be a terrifying experience, even if you've done nothing wrong. You have to know your rights. It's essential to protect your family. Now, um, this is a rule that every parent needs to know when you're dealing with CPS in multiple states. Now, as a father, I have firsthand experience dealing with CPS, and I've seen how easy it is to make mistakes in the heat of the moment. That's why I researched the topic extensively. I've consulted with legal and social work professionals. And there's this guide that what CPS can do and not do. You need to understand your rights before you can stand up for them. It's so important you know your civil rights and your constitutional rights. The Fourth Amendment deals with the entry into your home. It is normal and natural to feel defensive and shaken when CPS shows up your door. I experienced that numerous times. In fact, for 5 years, from 2010 to 2015, weekly, I had a CPS worker investigate and say they got reports. I did not know that the person going to reports was my in laws. My wife's mother, father, three sisters, and a brother were calling from Ohio to California and making up stories that weren't true. So, yes, I do feel very defensive when CP. I didn't know who they were, and no one does. That's a life skill that's lacking that should be taught. Now, what all that means is that someone has made a serious accusation about you or your child. We don't know who that is because CPS won't tell you. But what you want to do right away is one, don't answer the door. And I'm telling you that because here's the problem. When you answer the door, they usually have a policeman who's very intimidating and they'll try to force a way into the home. And once inside the home, they're going to search the home and they're going to grab your child. That's the typical MO of CPS. It isn't here, hi, we've here to help you. We've had a complaint and we would like to address this complaint with you. Do you have a moment of time? No, it's not like that at all. They want to take your child because they're interested in making money. It's a $1 trillion business. I don't know how much I can tell you on that. Am I hearing okay? By the way, Christina Reynosa, do you hear me? Hello, Sherry Boyd. Welcome back. You're on the other day. Is my voice coming through really good right now? I got to make sure that you hear me okay. Christina Reynosa is from Las Vegas, Nevada, and welcome. She is a remarkable woman that does a lot behind the scenes to help other people. But Christina Reynosa, are you hearing me okay? I see uh, I see Michael Carlin Rita and Donnie Yancek Sky, who's been on before. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you. Okay, good. Michael says he hears me. All right, Michael, can you tell me what part of the world you're from? And by the way, I need to put up that bulletin on my screen here because as I talk, you can text a message. It's either make it a question or a comment about CPS. Please state your first name, your city, your county, and your state. And if you're from another country, which I do have 22 countries out there, with the United States, it's 23 countries, and your country. Also, please tell me about your CPS from the beginning to where you're at. So that is really, really important. And thank you, Christina, that you hear me okay. Lately people have been telling me they're not hearing me, and I have to make sure that other programs on my computer aren't on because when you're on SteamYard, you can't have other programs running. SteamYard's got to be exclusive used on your computer. I find that out. It's kind of learn as you go type thing. It's kind of like that, is there? Now, here's what CPS can do. CPS can investigate all reports. They investigate any report of potential abuse or neglect, even if it seems unlikely or turns out to be false. The problem is when they receive a report, you're guilty. It's the only entity that you're guilty before you're proven innocent. Anything else, you're innocent to you're proven guilty. Now, they can show up unannounced. They do that purposely, hoping that you open your door. They don't have to give notice. And the best way to do is you hear a knock on the door, you don't know who it is, you don't answer the door. And I can't emphasize how many times people have been shot and killed by opening the door. It isn't one or two cases. There was a black airman in the United States Air Force that was shot and killed in Gainesville, Florida, by a sheriff. He opened the door and 5 blasts hit his chest, and he died talking to FaceTime to his fiancee. And on top of that, the sheriff had the wrong place for domestic violence. But that didn't bring the guy back. That didn't bring the guy back. Now they're hoping that you'll answer the door. Because what's so sad is the bad CPS, once the door is open, they think to get in. Now, a family member can open the door, and you got to make sure you explain to your family the rules are, especially with young children. You teach them in preschool and prep K and kindergarten. Those are important development years for little people. And you tell them, do not open the door. Do not talk to strangers. That's a life skill. We do not talk to strangers. We do not open the door. Because there's been too many, you're taking a chance. It's called Russian roulette. And what Russian roulette is, if any of you don't know, it's holding a gun to your temple and you roll the cartridge that holds the bullets. And then you take a click. And there's only one bullet, by the way, in the gun. You just don't know. You don't want to take that chance. So my recommendation, I do it still today, is I listened and then I try to be very quiet, turn my music off, and eventually they'll go away. They can only get in there if they suspect your child's in danger. And they got to hear commotions. They got to hear screaming and yelling. They got to see something that would tribute to that. And again, 99% of the time, they seem to always come out with the police. Why? Because the police represents intimidation. Why? Because they're dressed in combat boots, they're bulletproof vests. I know they look very intimidating. They're done that way because we live in a society where we have horrible crimes. I'm not trying to defend I'm just trying to say they're used, but they're only supposed to be used to serve warrants and protect the social workers, not to enforce CPS rules. They don't know the CPS rules. They don't know CPS matters. Now, keep in mind that CPS can add new concerns to the allegations. If they come in, they uncover new concerns. That's why they want to come in the house. You may have drug paraphernalia laying around. You may have a messy house, or you may have, um, you know, trash or whatever, hoarding going on, or whatever the case may be. That's why you don't open the door. There will be a time to inspect the house, but it want to be on your terms. And that's where a lawyer comes into play. Your mind right now should thinking is that, oh, I need to get an attorney. This is serious business. Now, if you don't talk to them, you don't answer the door, then you're okay for the moment. But then right after time is class, you should make your first call to get an attorney. And I'm talking about a real attorney trained in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. That kind of attorney, like Mr. Davis I have on my show, is the kind of attorney that will help you. He helped me get my kids back. He did help me do that. Now, when they come in, they investigate, they're going to add to their case their own or complaint. Now, what I did when I first started getting an investigation, I didn't know anything about this. So I left them in my home. But at that time, I had nothing that they could make any big deal about it. I mean, the lay people were saying I didn't have no food. Well, they saw my cupboards full of food and the refrigerator full of food. Then one of the complaints was I didn't feed the kids. They saw the feeding area, they saw the utensils, the stove cooking. Another one was you didn't pay for utilities. I showed them all the utility bills. I showed the gas come on. I showed electricity come on. I showed the water come on. So everything that these lay people, my in-laws, were stating were false. They were false. And of course, I was foolish because I let them in the home. I should never have done that. Now, another question comes up. Can CPS interview your child without your consent? They can talk to your child privately and ask detailed questions, even about topics that seem unrelated to the original report. They may photograph your child as part of their investigation. They may photograph your child. But what you want to do, you want to give them the opportunity. So if your children and you are in the house, the door is closed, and the drawbridge is up and the castle is secured, then you're fine. You don't have to worry about them. You need to instruct your children do not talk to strangers and tell them even a policeman could be a stranger. Now tell them that policemen are supposed to be good people and government people are supposed to be good people, but there's always the bad apple. And it seems lately that CPS has a lot of bad apples. Now, can CPS interview others? They can speak to teachers, families, or anyone else that may have information. So you may have a bad person that has a hatred towards you. They're going to give you something. Like my family members did not like me and my wife. They did not like me marrying my wife 30 some years ago. And they're always against that. They always loved our children because we have beautiful, responsible children that are well mannered and well taken care of. And they always wanted our children. I just, it's sad some people are there. Can CPS use your statements? Yes, that's why you don't talk to them. They can use anything you say as part of their investigation. So, my rule number 3 is pretty heavy. You don't talk to social workers or police. You don't open the door. And you don't let them look around or think. They got to have a warrant to do all that. And that is a legal document that's done in the court. Now, another thing they have you try to do is something called a plan, a family plan. Can CPS demand you follow a plan? They can create a safety or service plan with steps you need to take, such as attending parenting classes, undergoing drug testing, or seeking counseling. They can do this even without a court order. If you don't comply, they can report your noncompliance to the court. What you do is if you have a plan that they want you to do that after they've taken the children, and it's a plan to get your children back, is that on the advice of your attorney, you sign it. Again, you need an attorney. I don't know how much to emphasize it. If you don't like something in a plan, you can draw a line through it and initial it and say, I don't like that part of the plan. And they can redo the plan. Now, can CPS remove children from your home? They can do so if they have a thing called a court order, or if the child is in immediate danger, or if you give them to them. Those are three ways they get your children. Now, immediate danger includes the risk of physical harm, sexual abuse, neglect, or other serious threats. For instance, if the kid's got bruises all over their body, and you know it's from a family member beating up on the child, they're in imminent danger, they can be removed. Now, can CPS terminate your parental rights? It is a very lengthy process, and it's only usually considered as a last resort. It requires court involvement and can take up to 18 months or longer. It's like a full year of losing or your TPR, your termination of your parental rights, your TPR. You don't want that to happen. If it does happen, you have 15 or 30 days time limit to do an appeal. You got to make sure you do appeal, or otherwise you lose your educational and your physical rights to your child. You don't want that to happen ever. Now, can CPS offer financial assistance? Yes, they are part of social services. They can offer you food and shelter and clothing and education and health care and transportation and even help you find a job. Now, CPS has offered financial assistance to help with a power bill. A family member had a $3,364 power bill, and CPS gave $500 towards the bill to help out. You see, they're supposed to be helping you. They're supposed to do something called reunification with the family. So it's very important you understand that CPS investigation finds evidence supporting the allegations. That's what you got to be careful about. If you're doing drugs, it's illegal that with children. You don't do drugs and with children. And the sad part is, once they find evidence, it could have long lasting consequences. It's going to impact your future employment. It's also going to impact your children because now they're going to be in foster care. And for the rest of their life, unless they do it when they're 18, they have it on their record. And so when they have children, they too are being investigated. They too are being investigated. But I know that once you have a case of child, a CPS, you have that history, it's going to show up in your background check. That's what you can do. Now, I'm sitting here talking about things already. I've gotten into the thick of things. And hello, Michael, and I'm seeing you're from Idaho, and glad to have you aboard. And hey, Cruella. Cruella's from Oxnard, California. And Cruella, welcome. She's called Felicia. Christina Reynosa is helping her because she has a bad case of eviction. The 17th of this month, which is coming up in a couple days, because today is the 16th. So tomorrow, Cruella's got a bad day. She's going to have to leave her um, home unless she has a way of stopping the eviction. And I'd like to know what you're at on that matter, Cruella. We all are listening here. She comes to my room. She has two babies that are with her father, but her father won't give it to her. Her mother, who owns the home, has been missing. And so her brother stepped in and made false allegations and got something going on. So, Cruella, if you could tell me by calling in, and I need to change the banner heading there to another banner here. Let me tell you first about being a guest. If you want to be a guest on my live stream, that's all you need to do is email my show producer. There's her email. It's grace@vincentwdaves.com. Pick one of my 14 shows, one Bob's Sunday show or Bob's Friday morning show or Wednesday evening show, whatever it is. You tell her, she'll send you a link and she'll tell you how to put it on. You just copy and paste onto your browser. If you get knocked off, you can put it again. Also, should tell you about the rules, like there's no eating or smoking on the show, there's no profanity, and we do not use the names of children, judges, or social workers. And she'll help you with other things. But that's if you want to be a guest. And I'd love you to have me a guest. Now, I do need to put my phone number up. My phone number is 626-698-0990. That's so you can call in. Now, the other number, 888-888-6582, is the law office of Vincent W. Davis. If you want to hire him, he's available. If you want to hire him, he is available. Um, and that's 888-888-6582, and that's also you get the reception at the office. Make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you. Now, I have a phone number coming in. Let me see here. Good morning. This is Bob Pace with the live stream. Who do I have the pleasure of talking to? Hi, Felicia. I'm so glad you called me. I am so worried about you. Oh, I am so worried because tomorrow is your deadline to be out of your home. Do you got an extension on it? Yes. Uh huh. Is there a chance you go to court to see if you get a stay on the eviction? Hmm. Well, the court's not going to help you. The court's not going to help you, and the plaintiff's attorneys are not going to help you. Whoever your brother's hired. Now, my question to you is, do you have a copy of the ownership of the home? Do you have a copy of that? All right. It very clearly says who owns the home. Your mother? Okay. You need to show that. You need to show that to the court because was it your mother that put in the complaint or was it your brother? Okay, he has no legal right to put in that complaint. And that doesn't take an attorney to tell him that. He does not have any vested, unless he's on that ownership of the home, he can't complain about you to vacate or quit the place. Uh huh. Uh huh. Okay. You have to, those are irrelevant. Your brother does not have legal rights unless he's shown on the form or he has a court order that he's a caretaker of his mom. Is he, Okay, you say you're a caregiver for your mom. Do you have any documentation that shows you're a caregiver for your mom? Because if you did, it would dispute your brother interfering because your brother is the one who's making this false allegation for whatever reason he wants. I don't know. Yeah, but you're still dealing with a commissioner and not a judge. And that's something that you should have said at the very beginning. I need a real judge because commissioner doesn't have the knowledge that a real judge does. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you saw your mother. I didn't know your mother came back home. Okay. Well, okay.
about an hour, hour and a half.
You talked with who? You talked with your brother?
No, he was just a friend of mine
Okay.
who gave me the link.
Okay. Okay.
Here, but it, it seems like weird, like the wishes, but maybe his home.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you think maybe your mom is hiding out at your brother's house? Your brother may have kidnapped your mom so he can orchestrate you being evicted. Is that what he's trying to do? Well, when you approach the commissioner in court, have you said there, my mom owns this property. I am a caregiver for my mom. This is my driver's license to show who I am. This is the paper that shows who owns the home. How can my brother evict me if he has no jurisdiction on the home? Wait. It's a loan. It has nothing to do with the owner of the home. I mean, has your mom signed over her rights to the home? You need you need a title. What does the title say? That's what you need. You show them the title. Nothing to do with the loan. The loan has nothing to do with the title. The title who owns the home. The loan is how the home's being paid. And that does not.
He is legally still, like he is, like responsible from the state, which he is because that's what he signed up for.
Yes, that part is, but the title clearly shows your mom. Unless he has a paper stating that he's now custodial of your mom. Who is custodial of your mom? Does your mom have any? Okay. Has she ever signed any paperwork that shows? So when you say you're a caregiver for her, you were just taking care of her as you're because she's your mom, not because you had a court order that said you were a caregiver of her. So the judge says that the brother has to produce a court order showing that he has custodial care of your mother. You need to bring that out and point into court. You tell the judge. See, this is what attorney will do for you. Attorney will walk it through and the commissioner will listen. The commissioner or a judge is a referee. Now, a commissioner is a beginning judge. A commissioner is a temporary judge. It's not really a real judge. And you have a right, and you don't know this in the beginning, that if you first went in there for your arraignment, you have a right to say, I want a real judge deciding this case. Now you have a commissioner because you've gone ahead and somehow along the line and given permission. And you're trying to do this case without an attorney. Now, have you talked to Mr. Davis about having an eviction attorney? It's a lot cheaper than a CPS attorney. Have you talked, when you last time talked to Mr. Davis, did you ask him one of the questions? Right. Well, guess what? You got another chance. I'm going to send your name. You're going to text me at my number 626 698 0990, and you get another chance to talk to them about eviction. Okay? And So you text me your full name, your email, and your phone number. I'm serious. This you got a little bit of time left. You got a little bit of time. And so you text me that. I will inform Grace that you talked on my live stream, which you did, and that to schedule an appointment as soon as possible. One of your first questions you can say is that, "Hello, Mr. Davis. I've talked to you before. I have a new question. My mother owns the home that I've been living there and taking care of her. My brother has interfered and tried to force me out of the home through an eviction process. He's not the owner of the home. He is on the loan, but he's not the owner of it. He's not on the title. And furthermore, um, you're the caregiver, and your mother now has been missing. You think she's at her brother's, but your brother's manipulating that you've gone before a commissioner and not a real judge. How can you help me?" And he might be able to tell you a fee that'd be a lot less than what his normal fee for LA County is. And I know that you don't have the money because if it's like a $500, you don't have $500. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm trying to get you help, and your time is running out. And you also need the research on the internet how to stop eviction. One of the ways they say is you can file a chapter 13, 11, or 7. You file a bankruptcy. But in order to file bankruptcy, you got to have a list of assets. Well, that home isn't your asset, so you can't. That won't help you stop the eviction. But you have a corruption going on with that eviction. First of all, you're dealing with a commissioner instead of a real judge. Second of all, you're not having an attorney there. And thirdly, you're letting your brother railroad you out of the home. And um, is there any chance you can talk to an attorney, eviction attorney, or get legal aid on eviction? Right. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Legal. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to do it right now. Oxnard, California. Uh, legal help eviction. Well, all those are sidebars. They're not going to help you there.
Supposed to be this court for like civil lawsuit or something against, I don't know, against my brother, I guess, because I have a federal agency, investigating the the events of this case. Otherwise, without NCIS or the Navy Inspector General investigating, so that they can confirm or deny the claims that I'm making, the I would have probably a harder time trying to prove my case.
What's the date you have to be out?
July 22nd.
I'm right now talking to uh, a landlord tenant lawyer, Judge BK. Now, have you taken any steps to contact a local housing authority or seek legal advice? And
Mm-hmm.
what did you sound so far? Can't afford.
The housing authority, because I'm not like in a rental agreement, I guess they said that they specifically wouldn't be able to help me because because of some type of technicality like that. So they referred me elsewhere, and honestly, like that rabbit hole adventure, I had to I had to give it up. Yesterday while I was calling because I just was like, it felt like I was talking to a bunch of people telling me that they can't help me, but it's like I call somebody and they say, "Oh, I can't help you with this, but this person should be able to." And then I call that person and then they say, "Normally we do help with this, but I can't, but this person should be able to." And then and then it keeps going on like that.
Okay. I got something that might be able to help you, and I want you to go there. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and how I found this out is I typed in, you can do the same thing, Oxnard, California legal help eviction. Can you remember that?
Okay.
And
Yes.
you're going to come up to the first one that says connect online 24/7, get landlord tenant law information, free legal questions, free chat with a lawyer. Okay. It sounds pretty good. I don't know if it's any good or not, but they are communicating with me. They want your full name, and I don't. Um,
My last name starts with the H.
no, it's all right. I don't need you to give it to me. Um, see what the problem is. Um, you don't have a contract for
Mm-hmm.
for renting the
For the
place,
tenancy at all.
So your a lot of your
Right.
laws to protect you, you don't have there. Now, I don't know. Again, I'm not an attorney, but I think what it is that he has to have justifiable cause to evict you from the place. Is the place run down with rat infested?
Yeah.
Okay. So the place is presentable. So what
Yeah.
reason has the court, what reason has he told the court you need to be evicted? Why do you need to be evicted? It's because there is no reason. You see, you need to tell the commissioner you don't have a contract. You're there because your mother needs you to take care of her. The place is good shape. He has to have a reason to evict you. He can't just evict you just to say something he's made up. I don't know what the paperwork you've shown, but you need to contact this Judge B. Bill K. He's a landlord tenant lawyer. He's a retired federal judge, and he's an attorney specialized in landlord tenant issues. Now, I don't know if you have a landlord, but it's something that maybe helps you. It comes with 5 stars. And this is I found on the internet. Um, yeah, I don't. She's asking for their legal aid is asking for your email, and I would say um, she will contact you. So you need to go find that. Just say that a friend of yours on my live stream. You say you're listening to a live stream, and they contacted you. Should I go ahead and give your phone number out for them to contact you?
Yeah.
Okay. 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 I sent it off to her. So she's going to try to contact you. Okay. Uh, phone call is the best way you like to be helped, right? Okay. Um, I'm going to get off because you're going to right now look this up on the internet. And her name is Pearl Chatbot. It's a chatbot called Pearl. Okay. And so, um, she will help you do it. Okay. All right. Um, Thank you for calling in. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. There is a fee, they say. They say it's a fully refundable fee of $5 for filling this out. But they'll tell you to do that. They say step one to this is something you need to do today right away. You need to do right away. Okay? All right. I'm going to go back to my live stream. Felicia, call me tonight after you talk to these people today. All right. Stay in touch. And I will get you set up with Mr. Davis as soon as I can. All right. Bye bye. Bye bye. Okay, that was Felicia from Oxnard, California, in Ventura County, who her mother has legal title rights to the home she was living in. She wasn't paying rent, she was caregiving, taking care of her mother. Somehow her brother has a grief with her. She hasn't said in court why she's being evicted because there's got to be a reason, and it sounds so bad. She also made the mistake of doing with the commissioner instead of judge. For all you out there, always ask for a judge. And if possible, ask for a jury trial by your peers. I don't want to emphasize that more. If it's possible, always ask for a jury trial. And don't ever deal with a commissioner. Deal with a bona fide judge. It may take longer time, but it's better to have somebody. Now, I just spoke, I asked a landlord eviction legal thing, and I spoke to the office of Judge Bill Kay, who's a landlord tenant up in the Oxnard area. And they they're going to help her. I'm pretty sure they do. They probably have other law firms too. They probably have two other lawyers from the looks of it. But so hopefully they will help you. The internet is so important for all your listeners out there. Here I am talking about, you know, what to do when they come knocking at your door. If you don't have the money, and I know your experience not have the money, I have the same problem too. When I lost my job in 2010, I had to come up with $5,000 a month for just my mortgages and my second um, loan, my credit line, and my property taxes. Now, that home was a beautiful home. It's a $2 million home a mile from the beach. And I was making a quarter million a year. And unfortunately, it got worse for me because the more I got involved in CPS, the more unmarkable my career became. And so it's been really a tough, tough thing there. So I was talking earlier about what CPS can do and what they can't do, but some other things that I'm talking about besides a warrant. Now, you have the right. CPS cannot force away into your home without a warrant. You have the right to refuse entry unless they have a warrant or a witness an immediate threat to your child. They have to see your child is being beat up or something like that. Now, CPS cannot tell who made the report. Reporters of sexual child abuse or neglect remain confidential. They may be called as a witness in court. Well, this is the sad part about things. Is I think that reports should be made in writing, they should be signed and a phone number. Now, CPS cannot force you to take a drug test without a court order. If the judge gives you a court order, take the drug test they give you, but also take your own with your own insurance. If you refuse, they must obtain a court order to comply a drug test. CPS cannot offer legal advice or arrest you. That's something that people seem that they thought they could arrest you. They're not lawyers or law enforcement. However, they can contact police if they suspect a criminal activity. A criminal activity. And child abuse and neglect can be a criminal activity if it's done in such a way that it harms the child. If it harms the child. Um, Now, CPS cannot make final custody decisions. They can petition the court to make the changes, but ultimately the decision rests with the judge. That is the key. CPS cannot do the final, it has to be judged. So you have to go through a whole period of time. That's why you need an attorney. Now, these may vary from state to state or from country to country. Now that hopefully you understand what CPS can and cannot do, you may be wondering what you can do about it. After all, the investigation can feel very overwhelming. It can be hard to know how to stand up for your rights. It is important that you understand your rights as a parent. Here are some of your rights. Demand to know the specific accusations against you. You have the right to know who has reported. Don't be afraid to escalate to a supervisor if the caseworker won't give you the information. Insist on an interpreter if you're more comfortable in another language. Never let your child act as an interpreter for you. Don't let your children talk for you. You have the right to refuse to let your child interpret for you. You have the right to refuse entry into your home. This prevents them from gathering evidence based on a quick glance that might be misinterpreted or used against you. You have the right to seek legal counsel. Attorney can protect your interests and guide you through the complex legal proceedings. These legal aid agencies may be able to help you if you can't afford one. You have the right to refuse to answer questions. You don't have to justify your refusal. You simply state, "I'd like to consult my attorney." That's all you have to do. You have the right to pursue placement instead of removal. If your child is removed from your care, you can ask the court to place your child with a trusted family member or friend during investigation. I did that. I was able to do that. So you can say, "No, you're not taking my child to foster care. I have a family member you can put my child with." You have the right to attend all court hearings about your case. You're not supposed to be out in the hall. You're supposed to listen to what's there being said. You can also bring your attorney. Your presence ensures your voice is heard in a decision affecting your family. Now, I know this is difficult and an overwhelming decision. It can feel like your family is in danger, and it can be hard to think clearly when you're under the stress. I get it. I've been there. You have to understand, I've been there. I've been fighting it for 15 years. Just remember, you're not alone. That's why I do this live stream. Knowledge is the key and the power to your success. Knowledge. Knowledge. You need to learn. There are resources that can help you get through this difficult time. There are free legal aid clinics. There's free legal consultation. Right now, if you talk on my show, you can talk to Vincent Davis for 15 minutes. You could ask a lawyer online. There's just an answer is one of the things that you have to do there. Now, CPS might decide, I need to check my time. I forgot. That's right. I've done my different times here. Okay, I've gone over 14 minutes of running time. I've gone way over. I've talked for over an hour and 44 minutes. And again, I apologize for being late, and maybe we didn't cover everything I wanted to cover. But I hope that you all got to hear what I had to say. And I want to thank the emojis from the love from Lenaro Bertrice McDonald and from Macano Carlin Rivera and Donna Yansky. I want to thank the thumbs up from Michael again and Donna Yanosky. You guys are great. I want to thank Felicia, who called in about her eviction. And you say this isn't about CPS. Her eviction stems from CPS. Her babies were taken and she's trying to get them back in there. Christina Reynoso, I can't say how much I'm overwhelmed and glad that you're here. I'm glad to meet you, Michael from Idaho. I want to hear about your case. I want to help you, Michael. Please come back. Please come back. Sharon Boyd, you've been in here a couple times. I don't know where you're from, but I'd like to hear more from you. All of you that come in here, thank you, and God bless you being here. Now, there's a special message from my attorney, Vincent Davis, at the end of my live stream when I sign off. Please listen to its entirety. It's a good one. Also, do not stop fighting for getting your children back or your family together. That's important. Come here for encouragement. I'm here for you. I'm here 14 times a week. I have not let you down. I'm here for 21 months. I've been doing this. I've not missed a show yet. I have different times, but I've not missed a show yet. So with that being said, God bless you all, and know that I do care. I'm a loving father and a loving husband, and I care about you, and I want to help you. So with that being said, I'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is Bob Pace signing off.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted, and if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last ones left. Put your faith in